How much are you falling in love with my Detroit Lions right now, Rich?
Well, Mitchell, what is there not to love when you're playing great defense? I love to see it. And they're continuing to see these young players that they drafted, that they're developing thrive. Kirby Joseph among the league leaders in interceptions. But on the offensive side, like you said, they're a little bit of struggling, but Jahmyr Gibbs still had 21 carries for 90 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushing. Dave Montgomery got a little banged up in this game, but had 8 carries for 37 yards in a TD. Amon-Ra still got his. Jared Goff didn't turn the ball over or didn't throw an interception. And they were able to hold the Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson without a score in this game after he played a really solid game last week. So, I mean, what is there not to love about this team? Like you said, they're just rugged. They just get the job done. And no matter what happens in this game, they believe, just like we hear from the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think there's ever any panic in Detroit. And that's something that I don't think you could have said at really any time in the history of the Detroit Lions, at least a recent history since I've been alive, and I'm 36. There is no panic when they throw 5 interceptions. There's no panic when they stumble out the gates. There's no overconfidence when they score on the first 3 drives of the game. You don't see them just take their foot off the gas. At times, you watch them in games where they're dominating, and you're like, hey, maybe y'all should just maybe put the tools in. Like, is there a mercy rule? Like, maybe somebody should call somebody and tell them that's enough. That's enough. Throwing it like they said in rock, throw in the towel. Nobody's throwing in the towel, Mitchell. They are on a mission, and it just seems like a revenge tour. And I know nobody in Detroit is saying it, but they're showing it. They don't have to say it, Mitchell. They're saying it with their shoulder pads and their actions that they are on an absolute revenge tour, and they are kicking ass and taking names each and every single week. Now, nobody expected the Indianapolis Colts to win this game. I don't think anybody did. I definitely didn't. But you know what great teams do? They do exactly what you expect them to do. They did not want to disappoint the Indianapolis Colts. They came in there expecting to get kicked in the face. And guess what? Detroit came in there and kicked them in the face. And that's the thing I think is most special and not appreciated enough about this Detroit Lions team is that you rarely see them come into games and underwhelm, underplay. Now, football bounces different ways. You can't always control that. You do have turnovers. You have unexpected things happen. But the things that take no talent, the things that they can control, they are masters at. And I think Dan Campbell deserves a ton of credit for that. I think he's going to be amongst the final candidates for Coach of the Year, obviously well-deserved. I think Mike Tomlin will be in there as well. But kudos to him and the culture and the staff and the players that they've put in place because this is an impressive team, and I can't wait to see them next week, Thanksgiving, playing the Bears.
It's going to be a fun stretch for the Detroit Lions. They've got a couple division matchups against the Bears and then the Green Bay Packers, and then they host the Buffalo Bills, which is going to be must-see TV. Jared Goff this week said, he knows perfection's impossible in football, but that's what the team's focusing on is chasing perfection. They know that they've got all the people in-house that can make this happen, and they're getting better at the small things game in and game out, and that's just what's so impressive with this team. I'm really looking forward to them to have these primetime matchups against teams that inarguably are some of the best in the league, especially with the Buffalo Bills. We'll see how good the Detroit Lions truly are, because to me, in the Vegas, they look like the best team in football. And before we leave this game, it's time we got to honor our player in pride time, brought to you by our friends and partners over at Breitling. It's he's got the same Honolulu blue Breitling watch that I have on, and that's Jahmyr Gibbs. Richard, I know you had an opportunity to chat with him last week. I mean, how much did you love his game today?
Well, Detroit Lions fans, if you haven't got a chance to check out my interview with Jahmyr Gibbs, please scroll down and check that out because such a fun interview, such a great guy, great human being, and a fun interview. And I just love to see the success. He's just been impressive in the run game and in the pass game. And every time they need more of him, he gives more. And I think he just relishes in the opportunity that he's been given. And it seemed like somebody pissed him off because on one of those touchdowns, he turned around, and as he has done all season, he outran the defense to the edge, and he kept looking at the defender and letting them know about it. And this isn't a division foe. This isn't a team they play very often, but you could just feel that attitude. And I think the rest of the team is feeding off of his confidence and his attitude. When somebody needs to step up and a play needs to be made, he seems to be the one making it very consistently for that offense. And you absolutely love to see it.
Well, he is our player in prime time, again, brought to you by our friends and partners at Breitling. And now for the segment we call Seeding the Teams, brought to us by our friends and partners over at Scott's Lawn Care. Richard, let's talk about the NFC playoff picture here. The Detroit Lions at 10-1 have control of that 1 seed, but they're not alone. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles are very close and playing very good football. And in their own division, in the NFC North, the Vikings are a 2-loss team as well. The Lions are followed by the Eagles, the Seahawks, who have taken control of the NFC West now, the Atlanta Falcons at 4, and then our wildcard teams, Vikings, Packers, Commanders. Outside looking in, we've got the entire NFC West, the Cards, Rams, and Niners. Richard, what are your thoughts here? Because we got a lot of the NFC North out of there, and a lot of the NFC West is still in competition.
Well, I know this can be fun for Detroit Lions fans because they got to say, man, this NFC North has been pretty mediocre over the past decade. And of course, when the Detroit Lions are the class of the NFC, the rest of the NFC North gets to figure it out and are on their heels. So this game that they have on Thursday night against the Green Bay Packers on December 5th is going to be very, very meaningful, Mitchell, for all parties involved. And if the Detroit Lions can again put their foot down and put their foot on the neck and foot on the gas and walk away with a victory, I think they really solidify their seeding. But if they stumble, that NFC North is going to be up for grabs, and it's going to cause chaos for the entire NFL, because if the Lions are somehow the 5th seed and they have to run through the playoffs like that, I don't think they really care. I really don't. I don't think they're a worse team on the road. I think they're happy to do damage wherever the wind blows them. I'm sure they'd love to do it in Detroit in front of their very raucous fans. But if they had to do it a different way, they'd be happy to do so. But I'm sure the rest of the teams would not be happy to see that. I'm sure the Atlanta Falcons or Tampa Bay Buccaneers, whichever it would be, would not be happy to be like, hey, we're the 4th seed. We get the 5th. Wait. So we're playing a 1 seed? What? Wait, how did this happen? And that's how crazy it could get. But I think the Detroit Lions take care of business. But I think the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings also are formidable opponents with incredible records and incredible defenses and offenses that can play with anybody. We talked about the NFC West. The Seattle Seahawks just took control, took it to the Cardinals team that were leading that division, just beat the San Francisco 49ers. So really, really taking it upon themselves to really solidify their spot in this playoffs by beating the teams they have to beat. If they continue to do that, they'll be right there in that spot with a chance to play one of these NFC North teams and really show everybody what they're about. Show everybody that they're a true contender if they can beat one of those teams in the wild card. I bet you didn't know that fall is the perfect time to feed your lawn. Give your lawn a boost with Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard. Recover from summer, prep for winter. Scott's Winter Guard puts your grass on the road to recovery from the damage caused by the summer heat. Feed your lawn Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard to build strong, deep grass roots for a better lawn next spring. Repairs from summer fun, strengthens for winter, prepares for spring, secures your fall fun for you. Pick up a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard today.